Thank you for joining Pioneer. I'm Chris with Norman Public Library Central, and this is the 17th video in our series on the Swift computer programming language. In our 16th video, we learned about classes. We created a class called Weather Information, and we used it to store pieces of information that had been given to us as a forecast from the National Weather Service. We saw that we could create member variables, we saw that we could create an initializer function, and we saw that we could create a normal member function. Your challenge was to modify this class to include the rest of the data that's returned to us from the National Weather Service. Here's my solution. You can download this at Pioneer Library Systems website at the URL on your screen. In my weather information class, I have added temperature trend, name, wind direction, and wind speed. I've also then modified my init function so that it initializes all of those variables. I've also changed all of these variables from variables into let constants. That's an optional step, but with my weather information class, I'll never allow you to change those things. So once they get set one time in the initializer, they'll never be modified, which is the purpose of a let constant. Finally, I modified my print function so that it printed out the remainder of the information. I can run this by making sure that its target membership is checked and that none of my other targets are checked. And when I do that, you'll see that it prints out the information that it had, but the information that I defaulted, because it wasn't in my current weather JSON string, simply prints out the default information. I didn't have wind speed information, for example. In today's lesson, we'll continue on working with this class, but we'll apply it to the real weather data from the National Weather Service. Let's go. Make sure you uncheck your target membership from any of your previous software, and then you can download the starter code for this class at lesson17-classes2.swift. Make sure you check its target membership. In this file, I've provided you with a weather period class with all of the information, and I've also put in the Swift in small bytes function with the latitude and longitude for Norman, Oklahoma. If you're watching this video from somewhere else, feel free to fill in your own latitude and longitude here. This is the same code that we have seen previously parsing our weather information. What's missing is we're not doing anything with it at the end. I have created periods. Remember, periods is the array of dictionaries which contains each day's weather data. Now, let's actually print out the weather data using our class for each one of those days. I'll begin by making a new variable, and we'll call this weather periods. And this variable is going to be an array of our weather period data type, our weather period class. And we'll initialize it to an empty array. Then we'll loop through the periods in the array that the National Weather Service provided to us. Each one of those periods right now is of any data type. So let's make a temporary data variable that we'll use to store it cast to the appropriate kind of dictionary. I'll use the continue statement here to tell the program not to exit my function entirely, but simply to go to the next period. I can now create a new weather period and add it to the end of my weather periods array. I'll do that all in a single line of code. Remember that I'm constructing my weather period object from the dictionary provided by the National Weather Service. At the end of this loop, I now have an array of weather periods. Let's print it out. I'll go ahead and run this. Because this is in real time, you'll have gotten different answers than me. Your challenge is to modify the printout statement from this class that I've provided you to print out the rest of the forecast. Good luck!